Right, so far we've written equations from situations. We've written equations if we've been given the slope and the intercept. We've written the equation if we're given the slope at a point. Well, now we're going to do if we're given just 2 points. We're not given the slope or the intercept. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to write an equation of a line if I give you 2 points. All right, first of all, we all know we should be able to fill this out super easy. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, if I'm giving you 2 points, the biggest thing is I didn't give you m and I didn't give you b. So the first thing, if you have 2 points, if you can think of like I had like 5, 6, and 2, 7, the first thing that I can do if I'm given 2 points is to find the slope. So that's the exact first thing that we're going to do. So we're going to find the slope, and then after that it turns into a problem that we've done before. We're going to, just like we've done before, we're going to identify the m, the x, and the y. I will then solve for b like I'm very used to doing, and then we'll write an equation of the line using y equals mx plus b, the m and the b. So once we get through this step right here, which we actually already know how to find the slope, everything else becomes just old news. All right, so let's practice. Let's write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the points. So this first one's going to pass through the point 3, 0, and 2, negative 4. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do on this problem as well, although it does not ask me to do this, I'm going to go ahead and graph it just so you get an idea of what we're looking for when we do this. So 3, 0 means go to the right 3 and stay put, and then 2, negative 4 means to go to the right 2, and then down 4. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and draw it. Now the directions say write an equation of this line. So we just want to find out what would the equation of that line be. So first thing that we need to do is find the slope. Okay, if you need to label your problems as x1, y1, x2, y2, go right ahead. I think most people are kind of getting comfortable with slope and don't need to do that. Okay, y2 minus y1 is negative 4 minus 0. And then divided by x2 minus x1 would be 2 minus 3. Okay, that will end up giving me negative 4 over negative 1, which reduces to 4. So now notice I now have the slope, right? The next thing that we want to do is I need an x and a y. Well, notice I have 2 x's and 2 y's. I only need to pick one of them. So you're just usually going to pick the one that you like better. I'm guessing that we would like 3, 0 better because there are no negatives. So I'm just going to circle this point right here. Okay, so I'm going to write down y equals mx plus b, and this becomes a problem that we actually did in an earlier video. So the y value is 0, it's already nicely labeled. Okay, my m I just found out was 4, times the x value, again, is nicely labeled, which is 3, plus b. And so now I have 0 equals 4 times 3, which is 12, plus b. To get rid of the 12, since it's positive, I'm going to do minus 12 to both sides, and I'll end up getting that b is equal to negative 12. And then remember, we're not quite done yet because we still have to write the equation of the line. So we'll have y equals, again, m was 4x, and then b was minus 12. So that would be the equation of my line. All right, let's try another one here. Let's say I have 3, negative 2, and 7, negative 2. And if you're feeling kind of okay about that, you might just want to go ahead and pause the video at this time and see if you can get one on your own and then come back and check it. All right, first thing that I know that I would like to do is find the slope. And again, I'm just going to label this just in case that's helpful for you. Okay, the slope, y2 minus y1 will be negative 2 minus negative 2. And then divided by x2 minus x1 will be 7 minus 3. Okay, when I do that, that's going to give me 0 over 4, which reduces to 0. So my slope is 0. And then again, I'm just going to pick one of these points. I think I'll just go ahead and pick this first one. It doesn't really matter. You're going to get the same answer when you're done, whichever point you pick. So I'm going to write y equals mx plus b, right? My y value, clearly labeled as negative 2. My m, I just found out, was 0. My x value, again labeled, is 3. Plus b, so I'm going to have negative 2 equals 0 plus b, which just means that b is equal to negative 2. Okay, since it asked me for the equation of the line, I'm going to have y equals m, which was 0x, plus b, which is minus 2. And again, since it's just 0x, I don't really need to write that. It'll just be y equals negative 2. All right, next one, let's do negative 2, 0, and 2, 3. All right, again, what we're going to do, and again, if you'd like to pause the video, that's totally fine, and come back and see how you did. So my slope is going to be x1, y1, x2, y2, right? y2 minus y1 will be 3 minus 0 over x2 minus x1 is going to be 2 minus negative 2. On the top, I'll get 3. On the bottom, I'll get 4. That does not reduce nicely, so my slope is just 3/4, so I get a fraction. That's okay. All right, I am going to choose, I think, the second point this time because there are no negatives, and sometimes people don't like dealing with negatives, so that's where I'll go. Okay, so I have y equals mx plus b. My y is 3 equals my m is 3/4 times my x is 2 plus b. So now I'm going to have 3 equals, if I take 3/4 times 2, I'm going to get 3/2, or it might say 1.5 on your calculator if you do that. And then I will subtract 1.5 from both sides. So I'll end up getting b is equal to 1 1/2. You could also have this as 1.5, or you could have it as 3/2. All of those would be equivalent answers. And then my equation of my line will be y equals m, which is 3/4 x, plus the b, which is 1.5. Alrighty, let's try one more. Let's say I've got 3, negative 3, and then I've got negative 2, 6. Alright, first thing that I would like to do is find the slope. And again, I'll just label it just in case. And if you did the last fraction one with me, you might want to try this fraction one without me, see how you do. Okay, y2 minus y1, 6 minus negative 3. x2 minus x1, negative 2 minus 3. So up top, I'm going to get 9. Down below, I'm going to get negative 5. And again, that doesn't work out nicely, so that is my slope. All right, I think I'll just stick with the first point this time. Again, although it doesn't matter at all, I have y equals mx plus b. So my y value is negative 3, and again, it's labeled as y, equals my m, which is negative 9/5, times my x, which is 3, plus b. So then I'm going to have negative 3 equals, this will end up being negative 27/5, but if you're using your calculator, you'll get negative 5 2/5 plus b. And then to get rid of negative 5 2/5, we'll add 5 2/5 to both sides. And so I'll end up getting b equals 2 2/5. Okay, so the equation of my line will be y equals m, which is negative 9/5 x, plus b, which is 2 2/5. Okay, we are going to try one more example that is story problem related. It's a situation. Okay, for science class, you need to know the Kelvin equivalent of a room temperature of 70 degrees Fahrenheit. To estimate the Kelvin equivalent, you use the facts that negative 460 degrees Fahrenheit is equivalent to 0 degrees Kelvin, and that negative 280 degrees Fahrenheit is equivalent to 100 degrees Kelvin. Estimate the Celsius equivalent of 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so we want to get Fahrenheit into Kelvin. So I'm going to be writing 2 points. I'm going to have the Fahrenheit temperature go first and the Kelvin temperature go second. So I know, because they didn't give me the slope or the intercept, that's how I know I'm going to go this way instead. If the temperature is negative 460 degrees Fahrenheit, then it is 0 degrees Kelvin. And then I also know that if it's negative 280 degrees Fahrenheit, it's 100 degrees Kelvin. Okay, so now I'm going to use this information. Now it should look like what we did in 1 through 4. We're ready to go ahead and find the slope. So I'm going to have x1, y1, x2, y2. And then y2 minus y1 will be 100 minus 0. And then x2 minus x1 will be negative 280 minus negative 460. So up top I'm going to get 100. Down below I'm going to get, let's see here, 460 minus 280 is 180, so I'll get 180. Okay, and then from here, if I did 100 divided by 180, that should reduce to 5/9. So I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to pick one point. I'm just going to pick the first point. So I'm going to have y equals mx plus b. I know that my y value in this specific problem would be 0. My m is 5/9. my x is negative 460 plus the b. Now I'm going to have 0 equals 255 and 5/9 plus b. Okay, and then from here I will add 255 and 5/9 to both sides. So b is equal to 255 and 5/9. Okay, I'm ready to write my equation, so I'm going to have y equals, let's see here, mx, so it's going to be 5/9 x plus the b, which is 255 and 5/9. Okay, and I'm going to do one more thing here just to make it easier when we go to plug values in. My x is the f and the y is the k, so I'm going to go ahead and instead of the y I'm going to put a k, and instead of the x I'm going to put an f. And I'll kind of tell you why I did that in just a second. Okay, now I wasn't done because it didn't even ask me to write an equation of a line. It said to estimate the Celsius equivalent of 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And notice that this says 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So I know if this is Fahrenheit, I'm going to plug the 70 in for the F. That's why I changed it to a letter, because I figured it would be easier. Okay, so basically what we need to do is take 5/9 times 70 plus 255 and 5/9. And let me do that here. 5/9 times 70 plus 255 and 5/9, and I get 294 and 4/9 degrees Kelvin is what that answer would be. So there we go. So hopefully now you can write an equation of a line if you're given 2 points.